listeners, Adam the Paranormal Polynesian here. You better grab your cowboy boots, because today we're going to visit a town that's for sale, go to another ghost town that hosts a haunted saloon, visit a cemetery, eat a hamburger that burns our face off, and then we'll end with a ghost story about Clark Gable and a fiery plane crash that changed history. Here we are in the town of Searchlight, California. Where are we? Searchlight, Nevada! We're here in Searchlight, Nevada, and I'm about to make a left on a road that I've never been on. We're heading to somewhere pretty cool. You'll have to see. Oh, bitch is telling me to turn left. Here we go. And then we're just gonna go. Oh yeah. This looks great. If you don't see me again, I'm on Nipton Road, outside of Searchlight, Nevada. Oh my God, we have to go all the way back there. Okay.
Do you hear the banjos playing?
This is some hills have eyes shit right here. If you hear a banjo coming, darling, don't get scared. Unless you're dead, baby, or you're unprepared. See, in this day and age, the weapon you should use. Just try your luck and tell that your political views. Get political. Don't get crazy and don't get even. Get political. That's probably my best song yet, y'all. Oh my God, this town is for sale, and they have teepees! It was as if my Moira Rose air freshener was giving me a sign from up above. This town could be mine for a paltry $2 million. The sale of this town would include a hotel, a grocery store, an RV park, a cafe. I mean, who wouldn't want to own this little slice of paradise in case the shit hit the fan? Wow, how cool! How have I never heard of this place? Have you all heard of Nipton, California? Are we in California? Yeah, we're in California. Yeah. Cool, let's buy it. How much? Do you have any change? Driving along the Joshua Tree Highway, I'm really just reminded of how beautiful our country is, and how cool it is to just take a road you've never taken before and see what you find. And I'm just so glad that we did on this particular day. Today we're heading to Goodsprings, Nevada, and the Pioneer Saloon, which is a very, very famous saloon featured in many movies, and it's also the spot of a very big tragedy that we're going to talk about today. First stop, the cemetery. Gotta pay respects to those founders. Are you guys hearing this? That's like a combination of coyotes and dogs in heat or something. Hi, Adam here, Paranormal Polynesian. I am at the Goodsprings Cemetery. Let's take a look. Okay, we're inside the cemetery. Let's just take a look at this. Yeah, this was donated by the Robbins families in the early 1900s. I'm literally just reading the fucking thing. But, this is a really cool cemetery. This reminds me a lot of the cemeteries that we have in Utah, in the various little ghost towns. Or, it kind of reminds me of the cemetery in Magna, Utah. We'll go take a look at that someday too. So the Fails, they are the founders of the Pioneer Saloon, and I think a general store. They kind of started this place up. Jean Fail, the wife, is actually what the city of Jean, Nevada is named after. Here she is. Jean Fail Boggs. So I know she passed in 1950, so she lived a really good long life. George Arthur is the founder of the saloon that we're going to, and I'm pretty sure just this whole area. And unfortunately, he died during the Spanish flu, the epidemic of 1918, which, talk about, you know, circle of life. Here we are in the middle of a pandemic in 2021. Not sure what the shirts and hats are. It's interesting. It's a cool cactus. I really love these kinds of places. You just get a real sense of the history, and just the rugged terrain. It's beautiful. Look at this wood cross. A lot of grave markers around that time in the 1800s were made of wood. They haven't lasted very long, of course, but they're real cool to look at. I know a lot of people say this place is haunted. I just think it's very peaceful. Well, that's pretty much it, you guys. Let's go on to the saloon. Although I'm focusing mainly on the saloon today, it's worth mentioning that the town of Goodsprings was originally known as Goods Spring, named after the founder, Joseph Good. Joseph Good settled the area in about 1860, mainly because there's a rich underground spring. He planted lots of cottonwood trees that thrived because of this underground spring. And then, you know, just like every other little ghost town, it hit it big in the 1900s with the yellow pine mine that was established, and, you know, the rest is history. Here we are at the Pioneer Saloon. Are we the only people in this town? I hope there's someone else. Because then that turns into like a night of 1,000 corpses kind of shit. Okay, we're good. I see at least 2 other cars. Yippee skippy. First up is the Ghost Town Cafe. This used to be the general store, I believe. This was opened by This was built by George. We just visited his grave, George Fail. This was built in 1913. This Pioneer Saloon was built then as well. This has been in a ton of movies. My favorite, of course, being Miss Congeniality 2, Armed and Fabulous. Let's go take a look. We'll just have a little Sanny over here. If you do come here to eat, you do have to make a reservation right now during the pandemic. So make sure you do that before you drive all the way out here. No mask, no service. As you enter the courtyard, you'll notice that there are hundreds of barrels of whiskey all around the perimeter. The Pioneer Saloon works exclusively with the Las Vegas distillery to make these barrels of whiskey, bring them here to the saloon, and allow customers to purchase them, take them home, and age them with whatever ingredients that you'd like to add. I know that they're out of the 15-gallon barrels of whiskey. Good God, I don't know what you're doing with that. But they do have 5-gallon ones available, and they're going for 1,500 smackaroos out the door. I've never been a whiskey drinker, but if it's for you, then this is heaven on earth, I tell you what. And if you can't afford the $1,500, you can sample all the whiskey your heart desires, everything from peppermint to jalapeno. Just come on down and give it a swirl. Whirl, I meant give it a whirl. Let's get in the saloon. I have a dinner reservation, and I hear they have a hamburger that's to die for. While we're here at the bar, let me just tell you a little bit more about it. The saloon itself was built in 1913, however, this bar that you're looking at predates it by quite a bit. It was built in the 1860s in Maine, of all places, where it was then put on a ship and taken down and over the southern tip of Africa to get back around over to Nevada somehow. Makes no sense to me, but I guess times were different back then. Maybe it was like the Greyhound of its time. Look at this ceiling fan and those tiles. I hear they came out of the Sears Roebuck catalog. You can't get stuff like this anymore. I love it. Well, what's this old-timey machine? Hello, operator, can you give me information? And boy, do I have a whopper of a story for you. And I really do, but first let's eat a hamburger because I'm hungry. Here's the menu, and the Pioneer Saloon is known for their burgers, so I think that's what we'll try today. As you can see, they have steak, and I hear their Pioneer Melt's really good too. They also do breakfast in the mornings, appetizers, and again, just remember that you do make a reservation before you come down, and they do close at 6 p.m. nowadays. So, I'm trying their Ghost Burger. It's got jalapenos and a special ghost pepper sauce, I'm assuming, so it's probably spicy. Let's taste it. It's spicy. It has a really good flavor. Like a good charbroiled and kettle chips. How can you go wrong? Okay, Wendy, come have your half. It's spicy. It's delicious. Hi, kitties. Oh my gosh. Look at these little babies. They're so cute. The hamburgers and the kettle chips were great, you guys. It's very simple bar food, but they do it very well. But you know you're here for the ambiance and the ghost stories, and you know I'll always have something creepy to tell you on every episode of this. Our tragic story starts here at the Pioneer Saloon, at this very bar where Hollywood icon Clark Gable sat, right there where that sign is. He sat there for days awaiting some of the worst news he would ever receive in his life. You can actually see the cigar burns on the bar still from where he sat nervously awaiting information about his wife, actress Carole Lombard. When the U.S. entered World War II at the end of 1941, Lombard traveled to her home state of Indiana for a war bond rally. It was at 4 o'clock in the morning on Friday, January 16, 1942, that Lombard, her mother, and 20 others boarded a Trans World Airlines DC-3 airplane to return to California. After refueling in Vegas, however, the light beacons that were normally on the mountain were turned off because of the war, and the plane ended up veering 6 miles off course. Because of this, 23 minutes after takeoff, the plane crashed into Double Up Peak near the 8,300-foot level of Mount Potosi, just 32 miles southwest of Las Vegas. All 22 passengers were killed. Now, I don't know if you believe in numerology, but I actually do a lot of things in my life based off of it. The day that Carole Lombard was supposed to leave, she was tired and wanted to get back home to California. She, her mom, and Clark Gable's press agent were all together. They flipped a coin. Carole said, "If I win, we'll take this plane. They have 3 seats that opened up. If you guys win, we'll take a train." Carole's mom knew that the number 3 was unlucky for their family. When this accident occurred, Carole Lombard was 33 years and 3 months old. There were 3 people in their party, 3 seats became available, and they all perished on TWA Flight 3. I wanted to drive up to get a better view of the crash site, and when I zoomed in on the mountainside, you can see that the recent forest fires they had actually burned the shape of a heart in the area. I don't know, I think that's kind of neat. Shortly after Carole Lombard's death, Gable, who was just inconsolable and devastated by her loss, of course, he joined the United States Army Air Forces, serving as a gunner on a bomber on combat missions over Europe. People say that he was never the same after she died, and although he remarried a few times later, he was never truly happy again. So it's no surprise that people also see his spirit here at the bar. Which brings me to the last part of my story. I didn't actually know anything about this bar when my friend brought me here back in 2012. I remember standing up at the bar in the exact same spot that Clark Gable sat for those days waiting to hear the news of his wife's death. And I remember a gust of wind coming out of nowhere. The doors were closed, and this gust of wind pushed me into the room back and behind where the bar sits. And I immediately walked straight to this newspaper clipping that's framed. I looked at the newspaper, read the headline, and saw that the date on the headline was January 18th, 1942, exactly 70 years to the day that I was standing in that bar. What makes it even weirder is when I came back this year to film, I wasn't actually even going to come to the Pioneer Saloon. It wasn't on my agenda. But the day that I came back into town into Vegas, you want to guess what day it was? January 18th, 2021. 9 years later to the exact date. Why do I keep coming back to this place on the same day? Do you have synchronicities like this that happen in your life? If so, comment below and let me know. I've had stuff like this always. Well, this is going to do it here at the Pioneer Saloon in Goodsprings, Nevada. Please come check this place out if you get a chance. It's full of history, friendly staff, great hamburgers, and just a really cool ambiance that you cannot replicate. So, until then, y'all, keep it paranormal. If you like a good old-fashioned road trip, a creepy or cool story, and me eating food, well, then like and subscribe and join me on the rest of my adventures. And thank you so much. Thank you, really.